Alright, I'm feeling great about the victory on Wednesday against Manchester City, but it's time for El Clasico. What is incredible about Xavi's reign at Barcelona is that he has more red cards than trophies. What's very clear is he needs some anger management courses. It just seems like when things aren't going Barcelona's way, Xavi starts blaming the referees and gets himself sent off. What's beautiful about this tie is we know exactly how Xavi is going to try to play against us. It's basically a worse version of Manchester City. Barcelona only has one way of playing football, and that's trying to press the ball high up the pitch with the hopes of winning the ball back and going directly towards goal. Coming off of this week's Champions League ties, the two clubs are coming from totally different places. Barcelona was defeated at home in a fixture where they were the favorites to advance. And of course, we won away from home in a fixture where nobody gave us a prayer to win. But Real Madrid does what Real Madrid always does, which is break records and defy the odds. As things stand right now, Real Madrid has an 8-point lead at the top of La Liga, but there's still 21 points to play for over the next 7 games, which means mathematically, technically, Barcelona can still win La Liga. And if we lose to them on Sunday, we'll have a 5-point lead with 6 games left. But knowing Carlo, he's gonna want to go out and try to win this game at all costs. And winning tomorrow all but guarantees that we're the champions and we have nothing to worry about for the rest of the season. Which also means we can rest a lot of our key players ahead of our clash with Bayern Munich. I know the entire fan base is already starting to think about Bayern, but these are the kinds of games that you need to get past and make sure you don't sustain injuries and you can rest players later on for you to win the games against Bayern Munich. So if we win on Sunday, we'll have an 11-point cushion against Barcelona. And when it comes closer to the games against Bayern Munich, we can rest players that really need it. Players like Dani Carvajal, Ferland Mendy, Valverde, those players that have been playing every single game this season. But being that the Champions League is in our grasp at this moment, and the fact that Dani Carvajal came off against Manchester City in extra time because he had run himself into the ground, really worry about him starting this game. And given the form that Ferland Mendy is on right now, this is the best we've seen from Ferland Mendy since Zinedine Zidane was our coach. He is playing out of his mind right now. My concern is Ferland Mendy picking up an injury. He played 120 minutes against Manchester City. I would love to see him not start this game. The great news is that Aurelien Tchouameni is fit, fresh and ready to play on Sunday, and we can expect him to start without a doubt. My guess is Tchouameni will start with Toni Kroos, who will play in the double pivot with him. And that potentially might mean that Camavinga might sit on the bench this game. And you could tell during the game against Manchester City, at the 70th minute mark, he was absolutely exhausted and he can use the rest, I'm sure. But that also means that Camavinga can come off of the bench and really have an impact on the game where players start to get tired. But the bigger question is what happens with Valverde. Now, nobody ran more than Valverde did in that game against City, and starting him in this game, in my estimation, would be a mistake. Really trying to protect him for our big games coming up. So these are the kinds of games where maybe we can bring on Joselu, or maybe even Dani Ceballos, who hasn't really seen that many minutes this season. And speaking of players who haven't seen that many minutes this season, this might also be a good game for Arda Güler to see a few minutes. I'm not saying he should start, but it would be really great to see Güler get a few minutes against Barcelona. I think it would really be great exposure for him. From the few minutes that he has played for Real Madrid, he has looked really good. So I'd really love to see him, even if it's for 20, 30 minutes. Let's see what he can do in this big match. The last time that we played Barcelona, they played a very high line, and they were really exposed by having Vinicius play off the shoulder of their last defenders, and Koundé wasn't able to catch Vini. But when we played them in Barcelona earlier this season, they did a lot better because in my estimation, Xavi was there, and he was able to pressure the ball and cut out the passing lanes into Jude Bellingham. But it doesn't seem like Barcelona has any other players who can play that type of position for them right now. So there's no question what Barcelona is going to try to do on Sunday is try to stop us in transitions and try to cut off passes to Jude Bellingham. That's why adding a player like Joselu could potentially be a solution in this game, because we can go longer from our deeper positions and play players like Vini and Rodrigo and Brahim Diaz off of him. The other player that hopefully will also see minutes is Eder Militao. Getting him back to full fitness is going to be critical for the remaining games of the season. Militao might be needed in the Champions League ties. My concern for Sunday is I know Carlo Ancelotti. He doesn't like to rotate his squad. He has his trusted players that he likes to play game in, game out, and he doesn't like to make a lot of changes. He gives players small cameos, and if you take advantage of that small cameo, then he gives you a little bit more minutes. That's how Carlo operates. He doesn't like to do a lot of rotation or changes in his team. But I think this is the game where you need to freshen things up. Barcelona are very vulnerable, so this is a chance for those hungry players at Real Madrid who don't get to start game in, game out to show what they can do in a big El Clasico game. Players like Brahim Diaz, Jose Lu, Fran Garcia. Maybe not Fran Garcia. Fran Garcia is very liable to make a misplaced pass when he's being pressured. And with a team like Barcelona, you know he's going to be pressured a lot. And I just don't trust him to make the right pass in that type of game. So I don't know what that means, who you put at left back, but I'm not sure Fran Garcia should be starting in that position. As we always say, Real Madrid is obsessed with the Champions League and Barcelona is obsessed with Real Madrid. Let me know what tweaks you think Carlo Ancelotti should make for this tie. Who you think he should start? Should he go with Dani Ceballos, who hasn't played practically any minutes? Am I wrong? Should some of these players not be rested? Am I overthinking the issue with regards to injuries? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching. Hala Madrid.